All right, real quick, we'll get a sound check in here before we get started. So the first video I did, I didn't have sound on. All right, so we're gonna do the second video real quick. Hopefully we'll have sound, but we'll see. All right, I got a few things to address real quick. All right. Oh. You know what? Salaklia, I just realized that the video was muted because of the audio on the first one. So Salaklia, I apologize, Baba Kusha. All right, so Shalom, if everybody can see me, Abrakom Yabashima outside. All right, hopefully, saying you all get in here. All right, first things first, let's give an update. Let's give all praise, honor, and glory to God, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Pray everybody stay safe in these last days. These very, very, very specific and troublesome time. I don't understand how people are not talking about the coming of the Lord. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's just like no big deal. There's no big deal. Everything that's happening around the world. I don't know what you all are watching, but maybe I'm saying you should switch your algorithm. All right. I'm gonna pull up something real quick. Let's pull up. Salute to our brother, Brother Ashraf, Genesis Loopy Lane, who put me on with this, man. I'm going to play this, but I'm going to turn the audio off, and I'm hoping that they don't clip us. You know what I'm saying? I don't own the rights to any of these videos that's up here playing. I don't know none of the songs. I don't know nothing. All right? I don't know nothing but the love of Christ. All right, so I got my phone up right here because I'm going to be going through my Facebook. All right? I'm going to be going through my Facebook, and I'm going to be commenting to some of my friends and families. Now, I want to show you all this, too. Because if you haven't seen this, let me copy and share this link. This is the Proverbs AI movie. I'm pretty sure a lot of you Yashar have seen it. But if you haven't, and if you're new to, what we're doing, we promote our nationality, culture, history, all the other stuff. And I try to do it in a way that's, sincere and genuine. I'm okay, all praise, the water. Hey, I love you, Amma, shalom, salute to my Amma, salute to our mothers. All right, so just check out this nice visual while we go through these real quick. All right, I'm gonna keep the audio down, and here's the link to this. If you want to watch this, if you want to play it, it's great for your login. It's great on the Shabbat day. It's great any time of the week that you just want to show somebody some, some positive, righteous videos with, AI can be used for so many things, but to actually use AI for a form of righteousness to show African Americans, to show Hispanics, North American Indians, to show Natives that actually went through a very traumatic experience, which is called the slave trade, to show us in a positive light in the Bible is excessively beautiful. It's wonderfully helpful. So with that being said, here's the link for that. I pray everybody check it out and use it. Now, check this out. I'm going to be going over a few things because I want to talk about a few things. Now, the other day, I had a conversation with an elder, and Mo Bogart. All right, I just got your comment, Mo Bogart. All right, so if anybody knows Mo Bogart, hit him up. I'm gonna be commenting to this post right here. I said, it's supposed to say I got to address this. I got to address this while it's on my mind. Full moon, all right, is not the new moon. Okay, so this is specifically for the Israelite community and for those who assign. I use the scripture Psalms 81. There's a brother named what's his name? Here, let me tag him in this video real quick. Kevin. All right, brother Kevin. Let me go ahead, brother, tag brother Kevin in this. All right. So this is specifically for the Israelite. I better turn the volume down. Let me add brother Kevin. Now, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, you know what? I gotta share it. Okay, my bad, Slack. And y'all share this out real quick because I want to share a few things. Now, when I be talking, I know like I talk and you might not know where I'm coming from, but I'm coming from somewhere that's more likely off the bookshelf, and I try to do it in a way that's actually going to make you either question or think about it or something like that. That's the objective, right? I don't support the teaching that waxing crescent. That waxing crescent is the completion. Let me say it like that. Is the complete new moon. I know that sounds weird, but what if new moon was actually kept during the time frame of dark going out into light? What if it was actually kept from when waxing crescent, when waning crescent ended to where the light could be seen, to where waxing crescent was finally seen. I think Yasharala isn't using the full scope perspective, and I think a lot of people, a lot of students, think that their way is the correct way, and they stop learning at some point. I want to show you all something, right? You might not have seen this, you might have seen this. Make sure you share this out if you don't mind. I'm going to read because that's where we get our information, right? We get our information from reading. I know I can be a person that explains things, but that's just a part of my nature, right? What we're reading right here is, if you can see this, all right, let me view it on here. All right, I want to make sure I can see this page. So, all right, make sure I got it right. Oh, this is going to be almost impossible for me to read. So, hold on, let me make this into a full screen. And let's see. I'm going to need it to be, you know what? I don't want to make it to where this entire page, I'm not going to make it to where the entire page is shown, but as I read it on my end, it's, as I do this and all that stuff, I don't think you all get all the words. Don't. Here, so let me see if I can fix that. You know what? I might have a better way of doing it. So I'll show you what we're reading from here. So let's do this. There was an elder whose name was Saint John of Damascus. Watch this. Saint John of Damascus, book number 2, chapter 7. Now, I don't hide information. I don't believe in doing all that. Like, I don't believe in, being, well, to a certain degree. To a certain degree, we're supposed to, right? To a certain degree, we're supposed to, all right? Especially we're dealing with, saying the jihad, and a lot of things actually, so, but when it comes to, helping people to understand, what's going on or where we're reading from, etc. I like people to know things. So this is a book that's called St. John of Damascus, and it's called The Orthodox Faith. And you can find it book number 2, chapter 7. Now, chapter 7 is literally called On the Light, Fire, Stars, and the Luminaries. Now, the beautiful part about it is when it talks about the luminaries, a lot of Israelites talk about, well, that's just people in general. They like to go to the book of Enoch. Now, Enoch is wonderful. The thing about Enoch is it's kind of hard to, validate everything that's in Enoch because we have, scattered portions. We have the Ethiopic portion, we have the Roman portion, and then we have the Hebrew portion, which is, actually been found in the Qumran caves. So Qumran caves are a location that's in the Judean area. A lot of our brothers that's on the land right now, they can give you so much more information like that. Right, but that's an area that we inhabited. We also have a fortress there, Masada. All right, one of the last strongholds of our culture. Let me read this real quick. So that's why the book of Enoch is kind of hard to just validate because you have 3 different portions, and each portion, they don't say the same thing. They're scattered. So I prefer to go with the Hebrew version of the book of Enoch. But unfortunately, as far as the book that I have, it's only 2 pages long. So that's a big difference. I want to see if you all can see this. And unfortunately, it looks like the screen is cut off. All right. So I don't know why. I have to change my settings. All right, I have to change my settings somehow. And in the process of changing my settings, I'll make sure that, or even something better. Watch this. I'm going to read it to you. Then I'm going to share with you what I'm reading. All right. Now, what we're reading is from St. John of Damascus, and it's book number 2, chapter 7. And I'm going to read straight through, right? All right, book number 2, chapter 7. You got to get back to the top. Okay. Now, within this book, there are different sections that talk about everything from the elements, all right, the seasons, the breakdown of the atmosphere, the firmament. This book literally tells you that the earth is a sphere. It's a globe. All right. Now, somebody could try to pick it apart. They could try to pick apart St. John of Damascus. But the reality of, the validity, but the reality of it is this book is going, in a lot of rules, they say precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept. But they keep their precepts only within the 1611 Bible or the Bible. When these precepts go beyond that, the word precept actually means law. So if you, it actually means law. Law must be upon law. Law must be upon law. So when they're just like, oh, you know, we're gonna only stick right here, and it's like, yeah, that's what's up. Okay, you do that. Well, I'm gonna read what Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, what their students say. Then I'm gonna go and learn about Socrates and how Flavius Josephus spoke about Socrates, and how Socrates spoke about the earth being a sphere. And these Negroes haven't wrote one book. They haven't wrote one pamphlet. Some of them, they can be like, oh, yeah, you know, I wrote a book, and I've done a lot for the government. I've done a lot for the nation. You know, I've been here, I've been there, I've traveled well, I've been up and down. Well, some of them can say that. Some of them can say, I got passports, and I've been to the land, and I walked on the soil, and I planted a flag, and I've peed in Sodom and Gomorrah. Some of them can say that. But they do not have the validity of Flavius Josephus, which teaches us that the earth is a sphere. They don't have the validity of the Society of Gentlemen, which comes from which they produced a book that's called the Encyclopedia Britannica Edition the First. And what I've seen is that no matter how much reading or breaking down, you know, we do for people, it's not the ones that we're addressing. It's the peripheral vision people that are hearing stuff from the outside. So don't give up on edifying Yasharallah, because that one person that you're talking to, more than likely they're learning from you, especially if they see you know what you're talking about according to the spirit of Yahweh. Now watch this. We're going to read this real quick, and I want you all to understand. All right, if you have any questions, make sure you present them to me. I think the only thing that a person can do once I begin reading this, that would be a hater, because there's a lot of haters. You got a whole bunch of Ninja Turtle Israelites that only pop out of the sewers just to disagree. You know, they only, what is I got a couple people in mind. You know, they only pop out just to disagree. But let's read this, okay? So this is St. John Damascus. I'm going to share my page. Now, you won't be able to see it because of my settings, but because of my settings, you know what I'm saying, I'm also screen sharing the book of Proverbs for you. So just to give you a little bit, I don't want to give you an eyesore, you know, and I know it doesn't look good. I apologize. You know, once we get it together, we'll have it. But this is what I'm reading. All right, so therefore you can see it, okay? So, but we're going to go to the book of Proverbs, all right? Why you get this? All right, so further, they say that the heaven moves in a circle and so compresses all that is within it. Let me explain to you. I'm not going to deal with the word circle there. We're going to deal with the word compress. Compresses all that's within it. Just think about that. Because you also have to deal with the word compass and encompass. People don't pay attention that there's a difference between the word compass and encompass. Encompasses, all right? There's a difference. So just let's read on. Further, they say that this heaven moves in a circle and so compasses all that is within it, that they remain firm and not liable to fall asunder. They say also that there are 7 zones of the heaven. Now, a lot of brothers and sisters that talk about the flat earth that don't just speak basic things. They forget when we were children, we learned about something that's called the ozone layer. Every child right now, that is ridiculous. There are 7 layers to the ozone layer. Every child right now that's in school is well, you know what? I apologize. There are not 7 layers to the ozone layer. I'm thinking about let me count that. You know what? Let me double check that. How many layers are there to the ozone layer? You have the stratosphere, you have the ionosphere, you have the troposphere. How many parts to the ozone layer? Right now we live on a troposphere, right? And then as you go up higher, then you go to the ionosphere. And as you go up higher, you know what I'm saying? That's where actually you have the where people talk about gravity. All right, you have people that don't believe in gravity. All right, and that kind of blows my mind because it's like, jump off of something and then see if gravity actually exists or not. So right now we have the troposphere that we live on. Then you have the ozone layer. You have the stratosphere, and you have the furthest out, as far as what I know, is the mesosphere. Now, if there's a part that's further than the mesosphere, let me know. All right. If there's a part that's further out than the mesosphere, let me know. The point of saying that is to say, as we were children, we forgot this. And then as we become adults, somebody came along and said the earth was flat, and we forgot about the layers of heaven. That the firmament is a word that's used, and it's like, Somebody told us there was a glass dome and then rockets. Out of all your life in childhood, you ain't never heard of a rocket going up into space and hitting the glass ceiling and glass falling down from the sky. You ain't never heard of that in your life. And then you get into this 2000 whatever time frame. I remember in the 1990s, it wasn't talking. We all knew what it was. King Solomon knew the earth was a sphere. King Solomon had two pillars, Jachin and Boaz, and on both pillars there were sepulchres. Forgive me, I might be pronouncing it incorrectly, but these were two spheres, and one presented the earth and one presented the moon. All right, so this is not only attested to with the scriptures, but also you can Google it. Google the pillars of Solomon. Google earth and moon, pillars of Solomon, and then from there go to the scriptures. See, so we all know it's, but Google it in natural history first, and then be like, is this in the Bible? Right? So watch this. So they say also that there are 7 zones of the heaven, one higher than the other, and its nature, they say, is of extreme fineness, or in other words, it's very transparent. Right? So we're thinking about the mesosphere. We're thinking about the highest up, like that of smoke, and each zone contains one of the planets. For there are said to be 7 planets. I talked to a flat earth brother. He said he doesn't believe in planets. This Negro said planets ain't real. I talked to another brother. He said, and this is just not 1 or 2 people. This is a theology. This is the way of thinking. But you got to remember, nothing is new under the sun. So what we do is go back to the Israelites. We go back to the Hebrew, because I'm a Hebrew. If I'm Yasharallah, I'm Bani Yasharallah. So I know if I want to learn something about my nationality, what did my forefather say that wrote the Bible, that authored the Bible, I'm going to go back to our language, and then what did their teachers say? The Most High said, ask thy fathers, and they will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. Ask thy fathers, and they will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. You can't get around that. So let's learn about the planets real quick. Now, you're going to hear different names because this is an antiquitous book. We're not reading from a book that just came up a couple years ago. This is early century. So watch this. Sol, right? 7 planets. Sol, Luna, Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Venus, and Saturn. Now, some will come along and say, the Romans put them names on them. Well, actually, them names was actually there before the Romans. I almost said something funny. I was about to be like, holla at me, but that ain't even funny. I was about to be like, holla at me. Like, say, if you really want to talk about it, let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to talk about it, let's talk about it. It wasn't the Romans that put their names on constellations. They were there before the Romans. So if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. So don't try to belittle a person's intelligence because you know something too, all right? Because another person don't know what another person knows. Some people like to, do certain things. I like to listen to and read books. So precept must be upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. Now, when we're reading about these planets that we've already known of as childhood, as the whole world is known of, right? While we're reading about these, we hear something that's, a little bit different. But you gotta be mature. You ready? Watch. Sol, Luna, Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Venus, Saturn. But sometimes Venus is called Lucifer, and sometimes Vesper. These are called planets because their movements are reversed of those of the heaven. I'm hearing a lot of circular motion. I'm not hearing that these planets are inside of the earth. I'm not hearing that the sun and the moon are inside of the earth. I'm not hearing that yet. But let's keep listening. Planets definitely exist, and they're not inside. I love my brothers. I love my sisters. But at some point, you stop reading, you stop learning. At some point, you just said, that's all I need to know, and that's what I heard. And anything else contrary ain't suitable for me. You know why? Because a lot of you don't want to do more work. A lot of you don't want to do more work. But you got to get back to that. First of all, Christ is coming back. That's terrifying. So, I'm saying, I ain't saying that, anything right, but I'm saying all the signs, everything that's written down in that book. And I'm too real to be fake. I'm not going to not say it. So we have to go back to being babies again and learning all over. Go back, just consider it, right? So watch this. All right. These are called planets because their movement is reverse of those of the heaven. For while the heaven and all the other stars move from east to west, These alone move from west to east. And this can easily be seen in the case of the moon, which moves each evening a little backwards. The moon is not within the Earth's atmosphere, pertaining to low down inside of a dome. Okay, let's see if we can get a Google image real quick. All right, come over here with me. Sun, Earth, inside firmament. Hey, Dios míos, hey, it's so ugly. It's so ugly because it's false. It's so ugly. You know what? It's so ugly because it's already been disproven. It's fun. It's funny to look at. It's cool. It's interesting. But I'll tell you what, I ain't found not one book pertaining to the ancient. I got to get specific now in detail because somebody's got a book somewhere. A brother showed me the Williams Tinsdale Bible, to where it says that the Ark of God is sitting on the earth flat. It's sitting on the flat earth. It's sitting flat on the earth. But I said, what? I said, what? I said, hold on, wait a minute. I love you. It says the Ark of the Covenant is sitting flat on the earth. It's not saying that the Ark of the Covenant is sitting on the flat earth. So the sorcery, the trickery is real. The imagery is interesting. It's fun. It's there. You know, here, I want to look at this real quick. Let me look at this real quick. No, I don't want to see none of that. I don't want to see none of that. I don't want to see none of that. I want to see this. This is what I want. I want that right there. And the reason being is because I like books. So I want to know my Sapar Hazah. My Sapar Hazah. What book is this? The image is a famous Flammarion engraving and wood engraving by an unknown artist, first appearing Camille. Can y'all see this page with me? Oh, my bad. I'm going to share this page. I wasn't sharing. I apologize. Dang, I wasn't sharing all the time. I'll get back to it. L'atmosphere, meteorology, popularity. The popular meteorite atmosphere depicts a man often identified as a medieval missionary who has seemingly reached the edge of the world and is peering through the firmament. This is hilarious. Can you all see this? This is hilarious. All right. So the word that's used here is called celestial sphere. It's literally called celestial sphere. So I'm looking forward to doing some research on this. All right, it says, beyond the starry sky, he discovers a wondrous realm of clouds, fire, suns, challenging the traditional understanding of the cosmos. An original caption, Flammarion's book translates to a missionary of a Middle Ages tells that he had found the point where the sky and the earth touched. The engraving has become a powerful symbol widely used to represent the transition of geometric medieval cosmology. That's the point to keep in mind. And more specific, understanding the universe and the human quest for knowledge beyond the perceived boundaries. All right, so we are gonna find that. I don't know if this is a book, but I'm gonna hold on to that. All right, we're gonna hold on to that, and we're gonna research that. All right, is it a popular? Is it a book? Solve a mystery? Is it a book or is it just a painting? Is it a book or is it just a painting? That's something I gotta know. All right, great. Yeah, it's. Oh, okay. It appeared in. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So it's an engraving that appeared in a book, but it's not a book. It's an engraving. So that would be called a plate. That would be called a plate. All right. So plates are images that are engraved, and they were made like that so they could be printed off of. Okay. So that would be called a plate. All right. So let's go to it real quick. All right. So it's an image by an unknown artist. That's it. Let's go to it real quick. All right. So it's an image that by an unknown artist that's claimed to have reached the edge of the world, but you don't have anything on it. And it's just mentioned about in a book. All right. So it's been used by flat earthers. You got one pick. That's it. That's it. Okay. All right. So here's our book, and I like to be fair. All right. So if you can find the book, then what you can do is you can actually just get it online. You know what I'm saying? All right. So here's the book right here. All right. Let me copy the link. And there's a brother of mine that said that I don't share both sides, but that's not true. I do. Absolutely do. All right. So if anybody want to see that, all right, there's that. Here's the link for it too. All right, all right, back up and back to it. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the page and let's get back to our reading. Now I'm not again. I apologize if you can't see all of it, but this is what we're reading from, so you'll be able to see. All right, once again, the screen is kind of cut off, but at least you'll be able to hear. All right, so let's get back to it. All right. All right. Where do we leave off at? For while the heaven and all the stars move from east to west, these alone move from west to east. And this can easily be seen in the case of the moon, which moves each evening a little backwards. So going and looking at that image, that image doesn't help us very much. And the reason being is because it shows the moon within the firmament. And that's an issue. That's a problem. Now, if you're looking at it now, I think what maybe people were doing at that time was if they were drawing the northern hemisphere that they were living on, but some of the stuff just got extra exaggerated. You know what I'm saying? So let's read on. All right. All therefore who hold that heaven is the form of a sphere, all right, say that it is equally removed the distance from the earth at all points, whether above or sideways or below. And by below and sideways, I mean all that comes within the range of our senses. Did you hear that? All right. Now, I know you won't be able to see the page as well as here. Let me pull this all up. All right. The scripture says what? Prove all things. Okay. Now you see that? All that therefore hold that the heaven is what? That the heaven is in the form of a sphere. A sphere. I don't know how to get around that. What is the difference between a circle and a sphere? If everybody can see this, a sphere, a two-dimensional. That's what a sphere is. A sphere is two-dimensional. The better way of doing this will be to show you images. A sphere is a circle. Circle is, two-dimensional. So the difference, and I don't know why, when people, and even look at this, how the sphere is made, the way that they drew they drew a sphere with axes. Come on, some of y'all got college degrees. I don't get this. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yo, it's like, this is a circle. This is a sphere. All therefore who hold that heaven is in the form of a sphere say that it is equal, removed, and distant from the earth at all points. That means it's a perfect sphere. It's equal, distant, and removed at all points, right? Whether above or sideways or below and sideways, I mean all that comes within the range of our senses. For it follows that from what has been said, that the heaven occupies the whole of the upper reign of the earth, the whole of the lower. You see that? There is no just one space. This whole flat earth image thing, this whole flat earth. This is inaccurate. This imagery that we've been given is inaccurate, and the people are playing off of our lack of understanding, not only the Bible, not only our lack of understanding the Bible, but also man, this one was a cold one. I said, this is stupid. Let me tell y'all why all of these are stupid. because none of these can properly give a reflection of the earth on the moon. The moon doesn't change shapes by herself. Everything that I'm talking about is written. These are pictures. These are images. These are deceptive. When you go back to the antiquities writers, and then I asked a question on Facebook, I said, when did our community stop believing in books? When do we stop reading? Let me show you what we're reading real quick. What year was Isidore of Seville's Etymologies published? All right, check out this page, everybody. The work contained in Etymologies by Isidore of Seville is known as Etymology or Etymologies. This encyclopedia was compiled approximately 615, 600. So I'm reading a book to you that's from 615. This is before Google, before TikTok. And you got Negroes that's on here hating, talking about, hey, the white man changed it and NASA. And it's ridiculous. Because then you see, you can't not only, it's ridiculous. And what it's doing is, for one, it's sharpening me. It's sharpening me. And it's not even about the people, it's about the peripheral people that's catching the little nuggets and chunks. Because what we're given is the truth. What we're given has been documented. What we're given has been proven by our forefathers. It is impossible for the earth to be flat. It's not just about that. That is not a correct understanding of the Hebraic principles. King Solomon had two pillars outside of his temple. One was called Boaz, one was called Jacob, and they both had spheres on top of them. One represented the earth, one represented the moon. The Most High has made all things double. He has set all things double and has made nothing imperfect. Nothing imperfect. Don't y'all understand that a half of a globe is imperfect? Half of a sphere is imperfect. The sun is a perfect sphere. The moon is a perfect sphere, but the earth is half of a sphere. Guess what that's called? That's called a hemisphere. And guess what? You live on the northern hemisphere. Guess what's below the northern hemisphere? The southern hemisphere. These two spheres consist of one whole sphere. So don't let the world fool you. Look at this. This encyclopedia was compiled between approximately 615 and early 630s. It is important to note that it is important to note that this is the original Latin work. Its first completed translation. It was published 20. All right, so Latin. So all right, well, first English, boom. So if you want to find out, you can. I can help you with it. I actually have it on my library. I'm so grateful for my family that supports me and purchases our books for our family library that we can do this for you. Let's do one more. What year was St. John of Damascus, a book on astronomy, published? St. John of Damascus astronomy publication. I don't know what to say there. I just kind of threw something out there. All right. Yeah, let's find something on life. All right. Ooh, list of books of St. John of Damascus. If you don't know about St. John of Damascus was called the Golden Mouthpiece. Everybody wanted to hear what St. John of Damascus had to say. Everybody, he was cold. So, well, let me see. I don't want to, okay, 3 treatises found in knowledge, exact exposition of faith. All right. Yeah, St. John, he helped to break down doctrines that our culture, that the Israelites was facing whenever we was going through, discrepancies from other cultures being integrated with us. St. John of Damascus, he kept the original truth that our people walked in. All right. And what he tried to do was, just like Isidore of Seville, was try to make a library for us to go back to. And a lot of our people forsake it. And it's beautiful. It's ridiculous how much information we're going to blow up in once we start reading and sharing these books and stop arguing with each other, because we're giving these libraries to you freely that have already been tried and tested. All right, watch this. Let's go to St. John of Damascus real quick. All right, so this is what we're reading from, St. John of Damascus. Now we're reading from book number 2, chapter 7. Listen, look at this real quick. Hold on. Look at this. Concerning the visible creation. All right, this is book 5. Let's scroll down a bit. All right, book 7. Look at what the title of this book. concerning light, fire, the luminary, sun, moon, and stars. Now, I know somebody's going to come after me and they're going to be like, oh, I already knew that. I knew what you know. Stop it. It's not about that. You can know everything I know. I don't care. No, I don't know nothing. But if we all bring together what we do know, then we can actually grow together. Now we're building bricks. You got brothers like me. I know I'm sincerely trying to put in bricks, whether it's in children or whether it's in our communities or whether it's wherever. But I've noticed you got some real haters out here, some real daggone haters, man, and it's terrible to see. So if we could actually, bring this information together, then we'll expound opposed to people throwing bricks at you while you're trying to share information. This is called concerning light, fire, luminary, sun, moon, and stars. I didn't just randomly get this. This is what we've been reading for years. So when we're teaching and talking to people, we're showing, listen, this is where we got this from. St. John of Damascus, he was an elder from back in the day, right? He goes back to the vein of the apostles of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John. He wasn't just a fly-by-night guy. And then these cats that talk about the earth is flat, I ain't seen none of their books, but they keep trying to argue with me about stuff that we read that we're trying to give them for free. Let's read this real quick. We're not even going to read about fire yet, all right? So you all can get this. Look at this. On these luminaries, the Creator, Yahweh, bestowed the first created light, not because he was in need of other light, but that light might not remain idle. Now, here's the point. That might not have made sense to you. Don't worry. The Most High, before he made sun, moon, stars, he had already created light. He had already created ethos. He had already created the brilliant fire that was burning. Darkness, it was already here. So darkness, actually came first. And then the Most High said, let there be light. So light came second. So there's people that say, light, right? This is true. The darkness was first always, because the Most High said, let there be light. So what was first? Darkness, right? Yeah, the baby born, but it was in darkness first. The baby was still there. People try to play these mind games on you and be like, the baby, the baby's in the belly, so you can't see the baby until the baby actually come out. I've heard so many people say that, not just one person. I've heard multiple people try to use that as a breakdown to try to prove that waxing crescent, when you first see the crown of the head, that's when everybody rejoices. Happy birthday, that's when you're born. I've heard that so many times. It's not just one person. So if you think I'm talking about you, wipe that away out of your mind. If you think I'm arrogant, you can think that. But I'm talking to so many people that will hear that same doctrine, that the baby, when it's in the belly, you don't count it. What are you talking about? You count it the whole time. That I'm pretty sure that sounds ridiculous to mothers because they're counting it every day. They can feel that baby in there every day. So the baby is there every day, even when you can't see it. And then when it comes forward, now, boom. But whenever people try to use that as an analogy to where, well, we don't use the baby boy, you see the first black. Hold on, wait, stop. Let's read. Don't give me all that. Because after a minute, I'm not only going to stop listening, I'm going to start giving you books back. All right. So a luminary, right, it's not merely a light. So, like for my brother B, Brian, talking to you, I love you. I'm going to tell you I did this video when I see you the most. I was with him all. B, this is what I was telling you about. All right. Walla Walla, I love you. And y'all know the rules from the land. Talking to you, brother B, I love you. So, I am the cop. On these luminaries, the Creator bestowed the first light, not because he was in need of other light, but that light might not remain idle. For a luminary, remember, God made the luminaries, he made the lights. Watch this. The luminary is not merely a light, but a vessel. The moon is a vessel for containing light. A light bulb is a vessel for containing light. The light bulb ain't the light itself. The light bulb is not the light itself. And this is a perfect analogy. And this is before a lot of us were born. This is before all of us was born. This is ancient cosmology from the Israelite and Christian perspective, because these men were believers of Christ. So they were teachers of the way. I'm not pulling this from some strange doctrine. I only stay in the vein of Yahweh Bashem Shah. So he says what? For a luminary is not merely a light, but a vessel for containing light. There are, we are told, 7 planets among these luminaries, and these move in a direction opposite of the heavens. So we started there earlier. We're going to read down. All right. A brother told me he didn't believe in planets. So let's just see, what did the early church fathers believe? Did the early church fathers believe in planets? Did Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, did they believe in planets? Watch. There are, we are told, 7 planets among these luminaries, and these move in the direction opposite of that of heaven. Hence the name planets. For while they say heaven moves from east to west, the planets move from west to east. But heaven bears 7 planets along with it by its swifter motion. Now these are named of the 7 planets: Luna, Mercury, Venus, Sol, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And each zone of heaven is, as we are told, one of these planets. The first and the highest, Saturn; the second, Jupiter; the third, Mars; the fourth, Sol; the fifth, Venus; the sixth, Mercury; the seventh and lowest, Luna. Which planet do you live on? The course that the Creator appointed for them runs is unceasing and remains fixed as He established them. So yes, what you learned in school was correct. Just because, see, the scripture says that the beast will be given a great mouth to speak with. Don't forget about social media and the lies. Don't forget about that. Go back to reading what the ancient forefathers of the Bible and antiquity say. The earth is not flat. It's not. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. Our forefathers knew about the solar system, knew about the constellation. King Solomon, he knew. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, KJV. King Solomon knew about the rotation of the earth, the stars. He knew about the circular motions. Let's read this. Let me show you this real quick. I'm pretty sure a lot of you already seen this, right? So this is King Solomon. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. Okay, anything we show, we should be able to prove and read, right? Shalom! Wisdom of Solomon. All praise. All praise. Shalom! Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. He says what? He says, I myself also am like mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. King Solomon, or the authors of Shalom Banav, Shalom, they say what? He says what? I myself am like a mortal man. I'm like everybody else. And I'm like the offspring or the children of him that was first made. Maza. Maza. Ola la la la. Kaya la. Ani abukam. Salaga. The water. Come on. So he says what? I myself am a mortal man like everybody else, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth, that's Adam. He says, I'm just like everybody else. He says, in my mother womb, I was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months. So if somebody ever asks you, how long does a baby stay in the womb? If you say 10 months, there is nothing wrong with that. And I'll tell you why. Because you have a such thing that's called the spark of life. And when the spark of life happens, a woman knows, she says, oh, I think I'm pregnant. That spark of life is a real thing. Google it. So we don't teach that you can abort babies. And if you have, repent, never do it again. If you've a man that's been supportive of it, never do it again, teach against it. It is murder. All right. Once we embrace it, we can deal with it. Now we can be ready to, move on and do better. So it's a such thing that's called the spark of life. So you can say 10 months in the womb. Man tried to tell me some things, and we listen to each other, and we do judge. In my mother's womb, I was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months. You know, I say we listen, we don't judge. The scripture says we judge one another. We tell each other the truth. King Solomon says, being compacted in blood, that's from the woman, and the seed of man, and the pleasure that came with sleep, right? So that's that sex. So therefore, he goes. He says, when I was born, I drew in common air and fell upon the earth, which is the like nature, and the voice which I uttered was crying as all others do. Let's scroll down. Now let's read on. King Solomon prayed for wisdom. Now watch. Verse 15. Allahaya, God, have granted me to speak as I would, and to conceive as is meet. I'll take Saraya. Khan. Basar. And to conceive as is meet for things that are given to me. Or in other words, the Most High has given me the knowledge to be able to process things and to speak that makes sense. right? He says, because it is he that hath lended, that, excuse me, it's leadeth, because it is he that leadeth unto wisdom and directeth the wise. For it is his hand, for in his hand are both our words, all wisdom also, and knowledge of workmanship. Look at this, verse 17. For he hath given me certain knowledge of things that are, namely, what? To know how the world was made. Look at this. And the operation of the elements, the beginning, ending, and midst of times. King Solomon knew the beginning of the world. So King Solomon not only knew the beginning of the world, he knew the ending of the world. King Solomon knew how the world was going to end. And watch this. And the midst of times, which means right now. But hold on, it gets even better. King Solomon says right here, the alterations of the turning of the sun. Stop it. Stop it. Here go another thing. The sun is what changes the seasons. Since the sun is fluctuating right now, since the sun is making scary faces at the earth, people don't even realize that right now. The sun is tripping. And if you think I'm being funny, I'm not. I gotta make this video short. We gotta go ahead. I gotta go ahead and get ready to shut it down, man. We got some moves to make. I'm so grateful for everybody that's part of the ministry to help. All right. The sun is making scary faces at the earth right now. All right. There's an astrophysicist named Stefan Burns, and what he does is, and you can look this up right now, the corona holes that are happening in the sun are making the sun look like it's frowning because they're large spots that are disappearing in the sun. Or and when it turns around, it looks like the sun is making scary faces. I'm not making this stuff up. So I would love to show you. My time frame is short. You know, we're gonna go ahead and get to it though. Let's get back to this. All right. So, King Solomon knew what? He knew the beginning, the midst, the end of times, the alteration, the turning of the sun. So flat earthers that teach that the sun doesn't move, that's you just got cut by King Solomon. He says the changing of the season, but look at this. He says the circuits of the years and the positions of the stars. King Solomon did not teach us that the earth was flat. These people are not telling you correct or accurate information. The course, the course of the creator, the course which the creator appointed to them runs and is unceasingly and remains fixed as he established them. For the divine David says, the moon and the stars which you established by your word, established by the word established, he refers to the fixity and the unchangeableness of the order and the series granted to them by God. For he appointed them seasons and signs and days and years. It is from the sun that our 4 seasons are brought about. And these 4 seasons, and the 4 seasons, and of these seasons is spring. Now, he gives all of this as a breakdown on what happens during the seasons. How do I know? I read it. I went through it. I've listened to it. I've read it. I've meditated in it. He gives a breakdown on not only the seasons, but what do the seasons do to our bodies. And he also teaches us, we also learn from our forefathers. The scripture says, ask thy fathers, they will tell the elders, and they'll show thee. See, because you can't always ask your elder, because your elder might get the spirit of Saul on you and then be like, you think you know more than me. Or your elder might get the spirit of Saul on you and be like, I don't want you to read that. You know why? Because your elder might not be the one to understand it. You might be the one to understand it. That's why. And I've seen it. It's like, hold on, what do you mean? The Most High said, be ignorant of no thing. I'm not supposed to know that the zodiac is in the Bible? So if the zodiac is in the Bible, I'm not supposed to learn? Be ignorant of no thing. Right? Now watch this. Now we're going to look at the moon real quick. The moon is not within there. Now this whole thing isn't for one person. This thing is for everybody to listen to. But I did refer to one beloved brother. But this is for anybody that's also questioning these things. Now watch this. The moon. But the moon traverses these 12 signs each month, since it occupies the lower position and it travels through the signs at a quicker rate. So what that means is that the moon and the earth are not within the same stratosphere. They're not within the same zone, and they have their own orbit. And the moon's orbit goes around the earth quick because she's in a smaller rotation, right? So watch this. The Greeks, they believe that, you know what I'm saying, if, based off of the constellations, things happen in lives, and that's not what we believe. All right. And therefore, we hold that so this is what he says. Um, Therefore, we hold that the stars are not occasions of these things that occur, but the origin of these things to come to pass, nor the destruction of those things that perish. In other words, we believe in astronomy, not astrology. Okay? We believe in astronomy, not astrology. Now, watch this. It must be understood then that the moon derives its light from the sun. So, for those of you that believe that the moon, it glows and then it turns on and off like a light bulb, that's not accurate. This is only one book. This is only one historical document that was written by biblical believers of Christ. Ancient, early Christian, Hebrew astronomers that none of them taught the earth was flat. So all of the doctrines that people, like all of the flat earthers, they all say the same stuff. They all say this, and all of their doctrines are disproven right here. And then you can take these and line them up with other books. It's like, oh, yeah. He said that, he said that, he said that, he said that. And then the history just goes back further and further. Atabasara, you okay, baby? Khan. Well, yeah, Shalawam. Woohoo. Go get cleaned up. No. Go get cleaned up. Pretty girls. Halak Khan, I never come. It must be understood then that the moon derives its light from the sun. Not that God was unable to grant it light of his own, but in order that rhythm and harmony may be unimpressed upon nature. One part ruling the other part being ruled, or the other being ruled. And that we might thus be taught to live in community, to share our possessions with one another, and to be under subjection for our maker and first to our maker and our creator, our God and master, and then also to the rulers set in authority over us by him. That cut me right here when I was studying this a while back, and that cut me. First of all, it cut me with my community peers, and then it cut me with my supervisors. You know what I'm saying, that are directly around me, like even in my contracts. You know what I'm saying? If somebody get this position, that position, somebody does this. It doesn't matter. Stay in your position, because your position, I'm telling you all right now, your position where you are is order and harmony. You are the perfect person for your position. Nobody can do it better. The only way your position won't be done is if you don't do it. So stay in your lane, do your job, don't quit, stick to the script. All right, stick to the script. Stick to the plan. You are the perfect person for your job. Order and harmony must ensue. So the sun must rule in his time, and the moon, she must rule in her time. All right, and everything learns how to be equal. Everything learns how to share, take its own place. All right, and not to question why this man is ruler and not I myself, but to welcome all that comes from God in gracious and reasonable spirit. The sun and moon, moreover, suffer eclipse, and this demonstrates the folly of those who worship the creature in place of the creator. Of course, we see Romans chapter 1, verse 25, and teaches us how changeable and alterable all things are. For all things are changeable, save Allahaya, save God. And whatever is changeable is liable to corruption in accordance with the laws of its own nature. Right? Now, the cause of eclipse. Flat earthers, do they think that the moon turns off? How do flat earthers explain the changing of the moon's lunar phases? There's 8 lunar phases. How do flat earthers prove that? I'll tell you. So what happens is the sun, moon, and earth are all in line. The moon goes around the earth, and when she goes through her courses, she looks like she changes, but she really doesn't. What happens is the light she's receiving from the sun, as we just read earlier, the light she's receiving from the sun is obscured by the shape of the earth. Since the earth and the moon are similar in shape, but the moon is further away from the earth, they're both spheres. So if you have 2 tall people or 2 short people, 2 wide-bodied people or 2 slim people, and they both stood in front of each other, directly in front of each other, this would be called conjunction, right? They're both lined up. So therefore, you wouldn't be able to see one because of the shadow of the other. Now, of course, I can see you standing there, but at a certain time frame, This person's shadow is going to cover the other person's shadow. This proves that the earth, the moon, and the sun all work together like a clock. The sun and the moon are not inside of a half dome on a flat surface. The sun and the moon are all outside and goes around the moon, goes around the earth. And once she gets to a certain place, this is called an eclipse. Watch this. I was so grateful to be able to see this and share it with others. Now, the cause of the eclipse of the sun is that the body of the moon is interposed like a partition wall and casts a shadow and prevents the light from being shed down on us. And the extent of the eclipse is proportional to the size of the moon's body that is found to conceal the sun. But do not marvel that the moon's body is smaller, for many declare that the sun is many times larger even than the earth. And the Holy Fathers say that it is equal to the earth. The Holy Fathers are the early church fathers, such as Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and their students. Yet a small cloud, or even a small hill or wall quite conceals it. Or in other words, you can be here on earth. The moon is very large. She's very far away. And even though because of her distance, a cloud can cover her, you know what I'm saying? Or you can, she can be obscured. But even with that, her light can still be seen. The eclipse of the moon, on the other hand, is due to the shadow of the earth cast on it when it is 15 days moon. And the sun and the moon happen to be on separate poles of the higher circle. The sun being under the earth and the moon above the earth. That's, you know what? We can turn this video off right now. We can turn this off right now. Did everybody hear that? There's so much more. Let's go on. For the earth casts a shadow, and the sun's light is prevented from illuminating the moon, and therefore it is then eclipsed. It should be understood that the moon was made full by the Creator, that is, a 15 days moon, for it was fitting that it should be made complete. But on the fourth day, as we said, the sun was created, and therefore the moon was 11 days in advance of the sun, because from the 4th to the 15th day, there are 11 days. Hence, it happens that each year, the 12 months of the moon contain 11 days fewer than 12 months of the sun. Hold on, watch this. For the 12 months of the sun contain 365 and a quarter days. And so, because the quarter becomes a whole, and the 4 years of an extra day is completed, which is called bisextile. I know that was maybe a lot of reading or new stuff to listen to or to hear, or kind of like, and some people just might have just settled in and buckled in, and it really felt good, and it helped good to hear. Let me tell you something. You just heard so much. If you heard that word bisextile, and you never heard the word bisextile, I just want to let you know that you actually heard that there is a such thing as a Hebrew leap year. You got Israelites say, ain't no such thing as leap year. The white man created leap year because that's not true. We just read from St. John of Damascus, book number 2, chapter 7, the same thing that Flavius Josephus says, the same thing that the Society of Gentlemen said in Encyclopedia Britannica, book number, I don't remember the book on that one, but it's the book on astronomy. Everybody says bisextile, and guess what? Bisextile is the original word that's used for leap year. Bisextile is the original word that's used for leap year. We always did leap year. Bisextile. It's just that we've never heard of it. When you go to bisextile, you put in a regular search, it says a leap year is a year with an extra day, 366, February. It says in another in English, bisextile year, leap day is known as bisextile day. Julius Caesar created the Julian calendar, which replaced the month with an extra day in February. So we did have, and we do have, a way of calculating leap year. So whoever told you that we didn't, they weren't correct. So everything that you hear must be checked and double checked. All right. So Israelites did count. The children of Yasharallah in the early time frames, we did count leap year. We just didn't call it. Reading on. Let's go down a little bit. Let's go down a little bit. That's going to go into the constellations, and that's beautiful. Now, last point. This is the conjunction of the moon. Now, this specific section right here is called the phases of the moon. Okay? I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste it here, and hopefully you all will be able to get it and see it for yourself, because I got to use this book. All right? And I want to share this out to some specific friends and Flat Earth family members. All right? There's that entire part. Okay? There's this entire section. This says the phase of the moon. It is in conjunction whenever it is the same degree from the sun. It is born when it is 15 degrees distant from the sun. It rises when it is crescent shaped. And this occurs twice. Now, why did I just read this? And this occurs twice. Because it's very important to know that the lunar phases are always on time. She's always on time. If she's not, the Most High is doing something different in the sky. But let's read and find out what's the times of the constellational changes. The physical appearance of the moon. How many times does she go through her phases? At which time it is 60 degrees distant from the sun, it is half, so she's half twice. When it is 90 degrees from the sun, twice it is gibbous. When it is 120 degrees from the sun, twice full moon, giving full light. When it is 150 degrees from the sun, it is a complete moon when it is 180 degrees distant from the sun. We say twice because these phases occur both when the moon waxes and when it wanes. In 2.5 days, the moon traverses each sign. So we have to know that the moon is faithful in her time frame. If we know how to calculate, if we know how to count, if we know how to read for ourselves, can't nobody lie to us. Now, this is just one reference. And for me, this is fun. It's fun. You know why? Because we're all starting to think together. We're all starting to at least start to bring some type of commonality of thought. And it's okay to disagree. I'm not against disagreeing. Not at all. What I'm against is people not only belittling, but trying to put down other people's time frame, work, study. I'm against people just being poly parrots, not studying for themselves. As one of my good brothers, Genesis, said, study to show yourself approved. You read that to me earlier. And I want to encourage everybody else to do the same. So I got a lot of questions that pertain to this flat earth topic subject. You know, again, I'm not a believer or a supporter in it. What I like to teach is that the word that's in the Bible is sphere. And that's the word that I like to use. It's chawag. Chawag, it says circle, sphere. And then it says orbis terranean. Let me prove it to you. Look at this. And we're going to be done with this real quick. Let's go to the book of, let's go over here. Genesis chapter 1, KJV Blue Letter Bible. Right to the beginning, right? In the beginning, God created heaven and earth, right? Let's go to tools. Now, there's a separation between heaven and earth, right? So let's just look. Hopefully, we get our Hebrew to pop up. All right. I need some cereal. There we go. There we go. All right. So in the beginning, God created what? Heaven and earth. Now, if we're looking at it in our Hebrew, which we are, you see that heaven, that's Hashemayim, which actually means the waters, right? Hashemayim means the waters. And now look at this word right here. It's aratizah. Ha'aratizah, right? So my screen is stuck in a specific mode until I get it fixed. So for right now, I hope you all can see this. All right. Let's see. Yeah, you should be able to see that. So ha'aratizah. Now look at this. Aratizah, right? The pronunciation, right? It says what? It says land, earth. It's used for land 1,543 times. It's used for earth 712 times. It's used for country 140 times. Ground 98 times. It's used for, the word aratizah is used for world only 4 times. Ratza is the way 3 times, commonly used 1 in field 1. Right now, look at this. If you read right here, this is what you're going to see. And this is where a lot of people stop at. And I'll be so disappointed because I don't know if they're trying to throw insults or if they're trying to cover up truth. But if you use just this definition for Earth, this is all you'll get, which is really good. That's nice. But what I want to encourage everybody to do is start doing this. What we just read from was the Strong's. Here's a very important name to know. This name is called Jacinius. You all have got to start studying from the Jacinius Hebrew Chaldean lexicon. And if you do, you will receive so much more information. Why? Because I like to go to older information. I like to go to older knowledge. All right. If you can find the origin of anything, you can find the, the beginning of everything. Right. So when you go to the Jacinius uses a very powerful word that's right here. When he says earth, it says common, right? And it gives all that definition. But look right here. Here, let me do this for you real quick, because y'all might not be able to see it. Here, let me see. Let's do this. We're gonna search Google image. Oh no. Here. Oh man. See, this page you can't copy. I mean, you can't modify because it's a picture. All right. But I'm going to read it for you if you all can see it. All right. So it says, you see, it gives this definition. Here's the word aratizah. And all of this is the definition, right? But when you get right here, it says, especially, you see that parentheses number 1, and then you see parentheses number 2, number 3. You see how this works? It gives you 4, all right, saying, and then what's it, 5, 6. Especially definition number 1. It says earth. But look at this. Orbis terraneum. Orbis terraneum. This is why we go to the older definitions. Orbis terraneum. Nope. That's not what we want. We want orbis. Right? Orbis. Ooh, orbis absolutely. All right, orbis. All right. Oops, my God, I do S. And then, all right. I hope I spelled that correctly. If not, I'm saying? There we go. That's what I was looking for. Orbis terraneum. All right, orbis terraneum. Now, I love it when, here goes something just for our friends and haters. Whenever you look something up and people always want to attack and say that's Greek or that's Latin. Doida. Doida is Greek and is Latin. Doida. We know. So, orbis terraneum, all right. I want to get etymology, but let's just read it from here. All right, I think that'll be fine. All right, orbis terraneum or okay. Not finding what I want. It's pulling up something else. It's pulling up maps of orbis terraneum. All right, cartography. All right, but even that is showing that the Earth is a sphere. The word orbis means orb. All right, yeah, let's get this real quick. Orbis etymology. And I gotta go ahead and shut it down because I have to be respectful of time. All right, so orbis etymology. All right, orbis. Here we go. There we go. Here, I hope this helps everybody. Orb, mid 15th century, sphere, globe, something spherical, circular orbit of a heavenly body. Orb, orbe, orb, globe, directly from Latin, orbium, nominative orbis, circular disc, ring, hoop, orbit, orbia, wheel, track, nut. So the way that it works, it goes from the soonest to the most recent understanding. So the word that's there is the word for sphere, it's the word for globe, it's orbis terraneum, and it's right here in Genesis chapter 1. All right, Genesis chapter 1. It's I don't know how to, I don't know how to, all you gotta do is go to the word earth. Go do it there. So I want to talk to my brothers, and the reason being is because you all asked some really good questions, and you asked me to show some things. And in the process of this is me showing. This is me showing where we get it from. I think this video is long enough. All right. Most I bless you all, keep you all, make his face to shine upon you all. And if you have any questions, man, just ask me. You feel me? Now, a lot of times, I can have I have an irony about my conversation, right? And I've been called sarcastic, but I want to let you know, sarcastic has a negative definition, connotation. I don't have a sarcastic personality. All right, there's irony. Definitely, there's irony. I ask questions to learn, and that's something you have to use to. All right, one of my favorite teachers was Socrates, and that's how he taught. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna say Yabrakam Yabrakam Yahweh Hashem HaMashiach. Look at the information that was shared, and outside of if you like me or not, tell me what you think about the information. All right.